So, how do we improve our running? How do we learn to do that? And how do we go from just standing to running and maintain our length, maintain the length of our spine and of our entire selves, and at the same time maintain an efficient ground contact, one that serves us well. So I'd like to take you through a sequence of movements here that I think will have the potential to enrich your running experience if you take the time to explore them. And I want to point out here that I'm going to give you a little bit of a visual demonstration and talk about this, but in order to get the most benefit from this, you must actually do the movements yourself. So I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and watch the video and then get down on the floor and do the movements and see how they feel. So please get down on the floor and make yourself comfortable. Have both knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. Your lower legs more or less vertical. And I'm inviting you to go ahead and sway your knees to the left and then sway your knees to the right and just see how that feels. And do that gently. Gently. Make it an exploration. And pay attention to where the outside edges of your feet are. And when you sway your knees to the left, make sure that the outside edge of your right foot is on the floor. And when you sway your knees to the right, make sure that the outside edge of your left foot is on the floor. The outside edges of the opposite foot, the opposite of the direction you're going, will be on the foot, and pay attention to that. Notice that. And in your experiment here, make sure you propel with the opposite foot. And then go ahead and lengthen your arm over your head. And every time you go to the left, you lengthen your right arm. And you come back to center and let that go. But you keep the outside edge of the right foot on the floor. Now notice that if you're doing that slowly, you can feel a lengthening through your entire right side. Maybe you can see it here. The arm lengthens overhead. Take a little bit more time to do this than I'm doing in the demonstration here. You have your left arm overhead on the floor, and be sure that you find a comfortable position for that. And every time you sway your knees to the right, your left arm gets a little longer, and your entire left side gets a little bit longer. You can feel it stretching out to its full length. Explore both sides, and be sure that you keep the outside edge of the opposite foot on the floor when you do this. So you're propelling from the opposite foot. How does that feel? Notice the stretch through your entire self, through your entire torso, through your shoulders, that comes about naturally when you do these movements. Take time to explore them all. Don't be in a hurry. Go back and forth. Probably take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, making sure that you're comfortable, going back and forth very slowly. Keep that outside edge of the opposite foot on the floor as you turn, and let your knees drop to the left side gently, to the right side gently. So the opposite foot is the propelling foot. The opposite foot keeps the outside edge, or the fourth metatarsal area, on the floor. All right, so be sure and take enough time to explore that. Again, take your time, take plenty of time to explore those movements very gently on the floor, seeing what you can feel. What do you feel in your feet? What do you feel in your pelvis? What do you feel in your waist? Take your time. And then the next thing you'll do, you'll slowly come up to standing, and we're going to see if we can take some of these sensations into standing. So the challenge now is to experience the fourth metatarsal on the floor, the arch activated, the good support through the floor that goes from the arch of the foot clear through your entire self to your head. So you want to maintain your length while you're standing and as you move into action. And you want to maintain that good ground contact. So let's see if we can go through a few movements here. And let's see if we can sense and feel what that really means. So when we get done with this, I want you to realize that I am not telling you how to run, but I am giving you some movements here that could give your nervous system a lot of information. There are a lot of sensations, a lot of feelings that can be explored, and that's what we're doing here, exploring what these things feel like. And it could be that you could even take quite a bit of time over quite a few days or even much longer than that to explore some of these individual sensations and see how they integrate with your running. So let's go ahead and move on to a standing position. All right, so now you're standing. So we're going to transfer some of those movements that we did on the floor to standing. Take your time, please. Take your time. Do this very slowly and do it a number of times. What I would like you to do is, as you move very, very slowly through these movements that you did on the floor, and as you transfer them to standing, could you please take the time to notice very slowly as you step forward on a foot, do you rise from the ground through good ground support, or do you kind of collapse? Do you feel like, do you feel strong and powerful? Or do you feel like a bag of bones collapsing into the floor? See what you feel like there. And what side of your foot is on the floor? And how is your pelvis moving? And how does your knee follow the movement? And in fact, how does your ankle follow the movement as you move forward? How do you maintain your length as you do these things? So play around with these movements on the floor and in standing. See how it helps you to transition from standing to running. And play with this over a period of time and notice the details of how you stand, how you transfer the things you learn on the floor into running, and how you maintain that length throughout all of this. Play with this, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. So enjoy.